Happy Valentine's Day week. This is Tony.
Hi, everybody in Sage. Happy Valentine's Day.
Listen, we got a crazy life, just like the rest of you. My wife wants to kill me, so it's a perfect time to do this because we're leaving to do a platinum partnership program in Sun Valley with T. Boone Pickens and a whole group of people financial. We're going this afternoon to Las Vegas to do a program there for Salesforce.com. So I decided in the middle of this, we might as well throw this in. And our anniversary is Valentine's Day, which is why we didn't do it on that day. So thanks for joining us. What we're going to do today is share with you, using this kind of new technology, maybe 5 or 10 minutes of some distinctions we think might be valuable for just about anybody. And then we're going to turn it to questions and answers. And we'll do that for about 45 minutes roughly. With this cool vocal technology, there should be a button to your right,
To your right.
the other way, somewhere around there, where you can ask us questions. And what's cool about this is we can actually see you and, watch your face and see your interactions and, have an interaction different than just text. Or if you just want to put a text question in, we're happy to take that as well. So let's let her rip, shall we? So it's Valentine's week, and we don't know where you guys are. There's all kinds of positions you could be in a relationship. You might be in a relationship where you have total love and passion, where you're out of your mind for each other, in which case you'd probably be here just because you're always looking to make it better. You might be in a relationship where you have love, but not a lot of passion. And unfortunately, I think that's one of the bigger challenges we meet with people, don't you think?
Absolutely. And that's a painful place because, to have a great friendship and to have a great relationship, but to not have that spark and that fire, you feel dead inside.
I can remember a time in my life, and I think most of us have been a time where you've been in a relationship where one person was more vested than the other. And it's a painful place to be, and we've all probably been there at least once. Or maybe you're single, maybe you're in a position where you're single and you want a relationship, or perhaps you're single and you don't want a relationship, in which case you probably wouldn't be showing up here except to make fun of us, which is okay with us too. So where are you? That's our first question. Are you in a place where you're passionate? Because what we really want for people is love and passion. We've been in a place where we've been with people that we loved, but we didn't have that aliveness. And one of the things that we really both believe is that the only difference between a friendship and an intimate relationship is intimacy. I mean, think about it. You can be friends with anybody, but if you're going to be in a long-term relationship and you're going to feel that sense of aliveness, you've got to have that passion also. So, how to create that passion, we're not going to try and cover that here. We could during the Q&A if you want, how to trigger it. But honestly, if you've never had it, there are ways to trigger it, of course, but most people had it in the beginning. I mean, most people get in an intimate relationship and they get intimate because they have some level of attraction. So what we thought we might do first is just cover what we call kind of the cycle that destroys a relationship. They're the really, what we would call the 5 stressors that create stress in a relationship. And ultimately, if you don't deal with them, they really destroy a relationship. So the first one, real quick, if you want to jot it down or capture it and see if you can relate to it, is loss of attraction. That's number one. And when we say loss of attraction, we don't mean like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not attractive enough. A lot of times people start beating themselves up. What we're really talking about is when there's that energy in the beginning of a relationship, the reason things are going so well is because you have a positive filter. You're in a great state. The stuff they do is so cute. Later on, you're irritated and you go like, what in the hell? Why do they keep doing this? You get irritated sometimes by the very things that excited you in the very beginning, because the attraction isn't there anymore. And it's not like some attraction is this magical force. It is, it's magical, it's chemical, but it can be triggered. And what we're really talking about is depolarization. If you're an outsider watching that relationship, you might say, well, they have a great relationship. I mean, they never fight. When you're in repression, there's rarely any more fights because your brain finally just says, it's not worth it. It's not worth the time or the energy, but you feel trapped. So you stay in the relationship and you kind of have separate lives where you play the roles. But you ever been at a restaurant, you look across and you see a couple and they're not even talking to each other for like 30, 45 minutes. It's just the two of them, or it's such boring, polite conversation that just, there's nothing alive about the relationship. That's a couple in repression. And repression can eventually end because people finally hit a threshold and go, I don't want a birthday with another 0 or another 5, or I can't live this way anymore, and they end the relationship. So let's recap. Relationships are based on love and passion if they're going to be intimate relationships, right? What's going to kill that sense of passion is first a loss of attraction, which has nothing to do with looks, depolarization. But then secondly, because you don't have that attraction energy, excitement, you see things through a different filter. So now you start to get irritated, frustrated, go through the 4 R's. You can stop any of those 4 R's by speaking the unspoken, by saying, honey, I'm screwed up. In my
Yes.
past, I had this thing happen, and my former person in my life used to use this tone with me. I know you don't mean anything by it, honey, but it drives me crazy. So I don't know. I'll deal with it, but would you be aware of that? Because I know it's not you, it's me. If you can take responsibility, it's a different game.
Absolutely. And Tony just said a key thing, because for us, I mean, it's not, I mean, trust me, I drive him totally crazy, and he certainly
Wacky crazy. But she's the best thing ever happened to me, too.
and he drives me crazy at times. But you know what's beautiful is we don't live in the blame game. You know, it's not, if there is something, or if I catch myself or he catches himself, to go to each other and communicate from a place consciously that, listen, honey, I know it's not your intent, but when this was communicated, I felt this. Or listen, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just crazy. I'm hungry. I'm exhausted. I've had a tired day. I love you so much. Can you just give me 10 minutes? And it's a beautiful thing, because all of a sudden it's like you're aware of the, when you're in rejection, when you're in repression, you're unconscious. You're unconscious of your communication. You're communicating so harsh and
Because
so
you're only
just,
thinking about yourself. You're not
absolutely.
stepping the other person's heart, soul, shoes, emotions, or anything else.
And it becomes habitual. So part of it is
Becomes a
just
habit.
is breaking that pattern, and just really falling back in love with each other, and igniting that passion back on. And also, you look at, when I was talking earlier about Valentine's Day, you look at what people do. It's the notes on Valentine's Day. It's the phone call. It's having a date night. It's doing all the things that you did in the very beginning. And if you stop doing those things, the passion dies. And it's as easy as just the thoughtfulness and, the kindness. Choosing to be kind. Choosing love over being right. Choosing love over being harsh.
I think when you talk about presence, there's so little presence in the world today. When you're having a conversation with people today, and their phone starts to buzz, and they pull the thing out in the middle of the conversation, and they read the text, or they read the Twitter feed, or the Facebook feed, or whatever that's coming at them at that moment, or the email. It's so we've gotten used to it culturally, but when you do that, it's incredibly disrespectful. It's saying whatever else is going on is more important than you. Now, you can choose to do that in business, and maybe in your business environment, it's okay. But in your intimate life, if you want passion, gentlemen, you got to separate from one eye on your email and one eye on these pieces to giving her your total presence where there's nothing else. And it's sometimes hard because, we put a little video on our blog today. If you haven't watched it, you might want to watch it. It's about Are Men and Women Born This Way?
Classic.
And it shows this little baby girl talking continuously. I mean, I'm understating. And this little boy is not doing anything but taking a doll and wanting to do things to it. Right? It's an over exaggeration, but it's humorous and there's some truth in it. And the point of the matter is, if you don't give presence, you won't have that openness. You can even have sex, but you won't have the openness. But again, if you lose attraction, then you're going to start to have irritation, frustration, maybe some emotional stacking, maybe even some stonewalling, right? Like you're not giving any feedback to the person. That's going to lead to a loss of physical passion. And now you go to the fourth stage, which is a loss of commitment. And you're just not as committed to the relationship because it's not feeding you. So now it's like, why should I go here when I get more attention over there from my coworkers? And you'll start to find people at that level, if they don't have a loss of commitment physically, meaning where they may not cheat on their partner, but they'll emotionally take in the energy of other people because other people are making them feel good. I mean, why did you get in a relationship with somebody in the first place? They made you feel good. That's one reason. It triggered you, right? There was this connection. There was this energy. There was this intimacy. There was this spiritual connection, whatever it was. And now they feel like you're not committed to them because you're always making them wrong. There's clearly no attraction. There's no physical love in any way, shape, or form. And so that commitment starts to wane, and it just, now that it's like a snowball going downhill. It starts to accelerate, and the relationship is majorly going downhill.
This is a really dangerous zone. One of the gifts that Tony and I gave each other from the very beginning was to never put our finger on the button. And what I mean by that is to never threaten a relationship. We both know we are in it for life. I love this man with my whole heart and soul. He's the only man for me. To say that I don't screw up or he doesn't screw up would be a total lie. But you know what?
True.
We are committed. We're committed to love. We're committed to sharing that intimacy. We're committed to, living a life together and living a love together. And it's just a really key piece of making that decision. You walk down the aisle and you have this piece of paper, but that's just one part of it. It's making that commitment every day. And making that commitment every day is how you show up every day. It's how you're loving every day. And we have some of our must-nevers, and one of our must-nevers is never to threaten a relationship. No matter what's happened, it's the ownership that your partner's intent. You know that deep down, he might seem like he's being a whatever, but he loves you. And vice versa, she might seem like she's being a total
crazy
blank.
bitch.
Yes, absolutely, which we all are at times. But it's knowing each other's heart and knowing each other's intent and saying, like, listen, I am here. I am here and I will never threaten this relationship. I think that's such a key piece because that's a dangerous, dangerous place, and it's a place you don't want to go.